Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today we are actually taking a look at the Hollywood Reporter here. I know one of the rare times we're actually taking a look at the Hollywood Reporter, but I think it was last week at this point. Hayden Schlossberg, one of the showrunners for Cobra Kai, wrote a guest column here. And basically, is Cobra Kai co-creator reveals his rules for successfully rebooting classic IP. Don't rely on nostalgia or argue with your fans, explains Emmy-nominated Netflix showrunner Hayden Schlossberg. Well, right off the bat, we're already off to a great start. But the article goes into here with this. Ever since Cobra Kai premiered in 2018, I have heard some version of the following. I can't believe how much I loved your show, because whenever Hollywood attempts to bring back a classic movie franchise, it almost never works out. That cannot be further from the truth. Well, my co-creators John Hurwitz and Josh Heald and I completely understand where that sentiment comes from. Having grown up in the 1980s, we are the target audience for many of the repackaged, revamped, rebooted movie franchises we grew up with. We know what it's like to get lured in by nostalgia, only to feel let down by a cash grab that takes advantage of our childhood memories. So things like Ghostbusters 2016, 2012's Total Recall, and I'm probably, G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra. Actually, G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra wasn't that bad. That's a bad example. How about the 2010 reboot of The Karate Kid? God, that movie was awful. So I've heard. You know, I absolutely refuse to watch that movie because there's nothing karate about that movie. But that didn't stop us from bringing back one of our favorite movie franchises, The Karate Kid, which I have to really wonder, how is The Karate Kid like one of your favorite movie franchises? I get it. The first two movies were pretty decent. The third movie fucking sucked. The next Karate Kid, a bit of a hidden gem, but, you know, I wouldn't lose any sleep at night if I never watched that movie again, personally. And now that its follow-up Cobra Kai has found success at Netflix and is nominated for an Outstanding Comedy Series Emmy, we want to share our approach to resurrecting classic movies and TV shows. So this article goes into a lot of points. I think there's 12 to be exact, but I will flash them all up on the screen for you. So here it is right here. Here's the first one. Do treat the original franchise with reverence. Just as you should honor thy father and mother. That's problematic. That's a quote from the Bible. We got a problematic quote here. So should you honor the franchise you are bringing back. Remember, your show would not exist without the original movie. This is not just IP. This is something precious to millions of people. Treat it that way. And guys, I'm gonna bring this all back. I'm gonna bring this all back by the end. So just trust me on it. But here we go. Don't be afraid to make big changes. Respecting the material doesn't mean you can't be original. Fans don't want to see the same thing they've seen before. Yeah, like exactly what happened with Total Recall. The 2012 Total Recall was damn near the same movie, but they took out all of the elements that made the original movie decent, along with oh man, I can picture it off the top of my head. I can't think of it right now. So not waste your guys' time. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Karate Kid fans love Cobra Kai because we took the bully Johnny Lawrence from the original movie and made him the underdog of our story, and that was actually a really good creative choice. Is to basically shift the roles a bit. Instead of focusing on Daniel LaRusso, focus on Johnny Lawrence. Do create new characters to enrich your story and reach younger viewers. It's true that if you want to attract a younger audience, it helps to have a younger cast. New characters can bring fresh energy and perspective to your franchise, but, and you always, I always love it whenever someone ends it with but. It's like saying, I'm not a racist, but, or I'm not a sexist, but. You're just basically sitting there just going, oh boy, here we go. Here we go, right here. Don't forget about the original characters or your older audience. Sure, you want to lure younger viewers, but first you must win over the hardcore fans who made your franchise a success. And then we get into here, do use nostalgia to draw your audience into the story. Classic movies like The Karate Kid have been rewatched on VHS, DVD, cable so many times that people remember certain lines and scenes more vividly than their own childhood memories. Calling back these moments can have a huge emotional impact. Sweep the leg. See what I did there? But My big thing too is that you have to be very, very careful with nostalgia, because nostalgia is a real double-edged sword. Sure, you can use it to your advantage, but eventually the gimmick kind of wears off, and there is no other perfect example that I can bring up other than the sequel, the Star Wars sequel trilogy, episodes 7, 8, 9. Let's, for all intents and purposes, Star Wars The Force Awakens was sold entirely on nostalgia. But what happened by the time we got up to episode 9, Rise of Skywalker? Almost nobody gave a damn, because the Star Wars nostalgia had pretty much worn off by that point. And I do really like this next point here in the article is, don't rely on nostalgia. Callbacks bring back memories, but they don't tell a story. Even hardcore fans will tune out if they aren't hooked into a compelling plot with great characters. Exactly what happened with the Star Wars sequel trilogy. The key is using nostalgia to create something new and exciting. But again, I'm still gonna rest on that laurel of, of nostalgia is a real double-edged sword, and if you're not careful, you really don't want to fall to one side or the other. You don't want to over-rely on it where it's the only thing, but you don't want to underutilize it to the point where, what was the point of even bringing this franchise back from the dead? But, let's get back into this before I tangent off for too long. Do ask yourself, why now? You will be asked this question many times in the greenlight process, so you might as well have an answer. For Cobra Kai, our answer was that bullying is more relevant today than ever, and we wanted to explore that topic by re-examining Johnny, one of the most iconic bullies in movie history. But they also go into this next point is, don't overthink the why now. There's a reason your franchise is a classic. Most likely it taps into something universal and timeless. So while it helps to give your story some social relevance, you also want it to be relevant 20 years from now. Focus on the classic themes that will stand the test of time. If only Kathy Kennedy and J.J. Abrams were to take this advice with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, I don't think Star Wars would be in the state that it's in right now. But here we go. Do have a long-term plan about where you are taking the story. In the event of success, there will be demand for another season or sequel, and you want to be ready. With Cobra Kai, we purposely waited until the very end of the first season to bring back a fan favorite, villainous sensei John Kreese, because we wanted to give fans something to be excited about for season 2. But see, and I remember when I did my deep dive into Cobra Kai so far, the very thing that I praised the first season for was the fact that it was a very self-contained story. It had its own beginning, middle, and end. Sure, it teased where season 2 could have gone, but if season 2 never happened, Cobra Kai could have been written off as just a 10-episode miniseries. But here we go. Don't assume your audience is going to stick around until the end. This is a very, very important point here. As important as it is to have a long game, you need to win over the audience very quickly. Otherwise, they will move on to one of the 70 trillion other options they have. Do respect, encourage, and engage your fandom. The best part about working on a famous franchise is that there is a built-in fan base already. Do what you can to turn that fan base into a community, get them hyped up, show them you listen, and encourage their creativity and passion. And here's the final point. Don't argue with the fans. If Rian Johnson had listened to this point, maybe Star Wars wouldn't be in fucking shambles right now. There is nothing more futile than trying to convince fans who didn't like something that they are wrong. Again, had Paul Feig or Rian Johnson actually listened to this piece of advice, then Ghostbusters and Star Wars would not be in fucking shambles right now. If there is division in the fan base, let the fans argue among themselves. That is part of the fun. But guys, the thing I wanted to bring up here is that this was written in the Hollywood Reporter. Now, why am I making such a big deal that this was written in the Hollywood Reporter? Because this is a trade publication that the industry bigwigs tend to focus on. This was not written on some Cobra Kai fan blog or a site like Screen Rant or Rock Paper Shotgun for you gaming fans out there. No, this guest column was written in the Hollywood Reporter. So what this tells me is that it looks like that the industry wants to kind of course correct over the last few years, because let's be honest, you know, Paul Feig and Melissa McCarthy coming out and calling anyone and everyone who criticized the Ghostbusters 2016 trailer as nothing but basement-dwelling man-baby misogynistic trolls probably didn't help. You know, Rian Johnson took a page out of that playbook too with The Last Jedi. So that's the only reason I'm making this such a big deal, is why the Hollywood Reporter to write this and not like a fan blog. Again, I think this is just a sign of things to come a few years down the line, that the ship is going to finally course correct. And guys, that's pretty much all I've got. That's pretty much all I've got for you on this one. I've gone for as long as I needed to go. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you guys have been following me long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos, so I will just see you guys next time.